you know what? It has got heated grips on it, this thing, isn't it? Or has it? If it has, oh yeah, it has. I'm sitting there going, the grip's getting hot, and it's got heated grips on it. Blimey, that is getting hot. I'll tell you what though, only this one was getting hot, not the other one. I don't know what that's all about. Right, hello everybody. So, what are we doing today? Well, we're out on the Royal Enfield, excuse me, Shotgun 650. And it's a bike I've actually really been interested in because I just really like the styling of this bike. And, you know, I think the time of the small cruiser bobber is coming. And I know we've had the time with the scramblers, something I picked up on a while ago, and I think we're still in that sort of mode. But I think the time of the cruiser, and because of their sort of slightly lower centre of gravity and all that sort of stuff, I think they're going to become popular. And I thought, right, I need to get out on one of these, because I think this really is one of the best looking sort of small cruiser bobber type bikes out there at the moment. And I think it's quite a cool bike. I like their colours. So I don't know if anybody saw that. I'll put a picture up, but I can't remember the name of the company. Enfield did a tie-in with a custom shop. I think it was an American custom shop. And they did one of these. Oh, that was such a great looking bike. And I did go onto the website thinking I'm going to put my name down for that, because it was no dearer than the standard one as far as I could tell. But it was such a fantastic looking bike. Anyway, so you know I've got a little bit of thing for the shotgun. So let's have a quick look at the bike, quick look ride, and then we'll do some more riding. So come on, we'll find somewhere nice to stop and we're going to have a look at the bike. Come on. Right, so here we are. So yeah, the shotgun, it's quite an odd bike, this, isn't it? It's sort of a slight departure for Enfield. They're going into a market that they've not really been in before. And I know this bike has been out for a little while now, but it's still a bit of a misfit, isn't it? Because it's sort of overlooked. I always think this has been a bit overlooked as a bike. And I think that's a bit of a mistake, because there's some really nice bits on this thing. Now, I know that Enfield have been using their 650 platform quite liberally, haven't they, lately? But there's some stuff on this bike that you don't really tend to find on others, and it's not like a, you know, it's not like a reshaped Interceptor. It's not even a reshaped Super Meteor, because the differences on here between the two are quite marked. We've got smaller wheels for starters. We've got a shorter wheelbase. We got upside down forks and stuff like that, and all those changes do make quite a difference. But what I will say is, when I first got on this bike, I did notice again, similar to the classic 650, that I was reaching forward quite a bit. And I'll come back to that, because there's a couple of things I'd love to do to a bike like this. But what I did notice immediately was how smooth this was compared to the classic 650. You know, and it's not long since I've got off that bike, but I found this, do you know, the funny thing, I found this more refined. It's odd, whether it's the changes to the chassis and the you know, the wheels and stuff like that making the difference, making it more compact, and you know, there's not so much bling on this bike, and maybe that's helping it a little bit, because the classic 650's got a lot of bling on it, and I think maybe possibly, I'm just guessing here, the reduction in the bling is there's less stuff to vibrate on it. but it does feel, immediately feels really comfortable to be on. And I don't think it feels like anything else in the range. It doesn't feel anything like the Classic. It doesn't feel anything like the Super Meteor. It doesn't feel like the Interceptor Evo. It's a very, I like that when these companies, they might use a similar platform, but they can somehow manage to make a bike so different from its brothers or sisters. And I think that's really interesting how they do that. Let's have a closer look round as we talk about it, and just some of those styling differences that they seem to have. As usual, you know, Enfield do that painting really well, but these are lacquered over transfers or sort of stickers. You can feel the ridge in there, but you know, they do their stuff so well, Enfield. I love the black cases. I think this is very of the now, isn't it, the black cases these days. And that's cast in there, that's not a sticker on there. I think that's cast that in there. Beautifully finished. Black, I like, if I can't have gold rims, I like black rims. The upside down forks, the Bibury brakes, excellent brakes on these. I think they've really got a sweet spot with their Biburys. And all the bikes I've had with those brakes, in particular my Hunter, wow, absolutely superb. You've got a dark matte or satin finish on the frame, which is really nice. Black exhausts. Everything's just black, isn't it? It does look so good. It looks so damn good. I like the frame in this finish. I think it actually looks really, really nice, and I think that's going to be pretty hard wearing. This is the main difference. When we were talking about the Classic 650 and how you got this gap which doesn't look quite right on the Shotgun, and I think it's the same on the Super Meteor, you've got a deeper mudguard and it works better. It just works better. And then without the rear seat attachment, you know, the bobber style here works really well. It's just a shame these are not sprung though. I just wish these had been sprung. I think it would have been a bit cooler. But yeah, there's not a lot to dislike, is there really? I like the cowling round black. Again, the black dials. I think the single clock works on here, and I think it's a nice setup. I think this is what BSA should be doing on their new Scrambler. But I like, it's beautifully clear. You've got all the bits you need in the centre. It's modern, you know. It's not been thrown together. That a lot of thought's gone into that. The two-tone with the kilometres mile an hour on there. Obviously in the UK it'd be slightly different. The other impressive thing about this bike is that we've got Showa forks on here, and they're the upside down forks, which, you know, people seem to like that. I've always tried to work out what the main difference is between the two, and I think it's that thing of one comes up to you and the other you go down to it, if that makes any sense. It's probably completely wrong, but it was just how I worked it out in my head. I like the decals on the Shotgun. I've said this before about Enfield bikes. Whoever's doing their design, whoever they got in their design factory, really knows their stuff, and really sort of hits the nail on the head. The only one I think they got it wrong, as I said before, is the Classic 650. But yeah, impressive. And I think bikes need to look good from each angle, and even from the back. This looks good. It looks small, doesn't it, from the back? It looks short from the back, and it is a shorter wheelbase than the other 650 frames with the Classic and the Meteor. It is a different frame size. Well, it's a shorter wheelbase, so they probably changed the swinging arm and the rake angle, but it is a slightly shorter bike than those two, and I think it's better for it actually. Cool. Right, let's go for a bimble, shall we? Nice. Sounds nice, this bike. Really nice sound. It'd be really cool. I could imagine though, if you had no baffles in this, and it'd be really nice, wouldn't it? A real thumper, which is sort of what it needs, isn't it, really? All right, come on in. I might need to turn round. I'm always doing things illegally in France. So look, can I get down there? No, always mess about. Let's see what it's like with this slow handling there. I tell you, it turns nice. and it's not too sharp, but you can feel the difference in the rake angle, or the shorter wheelbase, definitely. Damn, that's sweet. The only thing with these, and I find that with some of the Enfield bikes, you know, you lose that frontal part, but I think that's actually the appeal of this bike a little bit. It's, you know, everything's underneath you rather than in front of you. You know, I've said to people before that I like to see some of my bike when I'm riding. I'm so sad. But I'll just put my visor down. Do you know, this has such a different feel compared to the classic 650, you know, and that's amazing that they've managed to do that. They've managed to make it so different, or that obviously they've managed to make the classic 650 so different. Do you know, I think this is a bike you could, it's a nice bike that you could just go out for a Sunday afternoon, stop somewhere for a cup of tea. You know, I know that's what we seem to base all our bikes on, isn't it? You know, where oh, it'd be nice to go out on a Sunday afternoon. But I just think actually it has that similar issue that I found with the classic 650 though, strangely, is that I'm reaching forward a little bit for the bars. The position of the bars for me on this seat, you know, you can see I'm leaning forward to get to it, and I think that would get slightly wearing after a while, which is interesting. And I think that's why I'd like to, and I think I said this with the classic 650 about bar rises, or just change the bar position a little bit, have the bars a little bit further back. But I would like to try this bike with wide bars. I want to get on a bike. I mean, I did that with the with that whopping great Harley that I rode. Was it the Road King, wasn't it? The anniversary one, 100-year anniversary one, which is a stunning bike. And that'd be, and I really like that, and I want to capture that experience again. Right, we're going into Israel. I do sort of know where I am, but I don't know where I am, if that makes any sense. Right, I'm gonna head off to St. Astia. I think that's what I'm gonna do. See if I can get down there. Do you know, this is such an easy bike to ride. I mean, I know I get to ride a lot of bikes, but you know, I think you could judge how easy it'll be to get on with the bike, how quick it is to feel at home, and this bike could do. There's very slight elements, funnily, there's slight elements of the Interceptor. The difference with the Interceptor that you've got, if these pegs were back, because they're sort of mid, so you call it mid shift, I suppose, aren't they? They're not full. If the pegs were back a little bit, this would feel very similar to the Interceptor, which you know I love. I absolutely adore the Interceptor. So there's a certain familiarity with this, but not with the Classic or the Super Meteor. It has sort of slightly more in common with the Interceptor, which is quite odd, but not unpleasant for me, because I love the Interceptor. I mean, the engine is so well known now. You know, I love this engine. I think it's going to be one of those great unsung heroes in the end. A classic engine that, you know, when you ride it, I've heard people say that it's a bit vanilla enough. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I think it rides like a classic bike engine should. But with all the benefits of reliability and fuel injection and stuff like that. And isn't that what we all want, really? We want classic styling, but with modern reliability. Although if you speak to Land Rover owners and people with wet belts, they might say something completely different. I know I would, blimey. Where are we going with modern vehicles these days? We're getting this sort of like terrible built-in obsolescence to the major components now with the engines, you know, where they should be ultra reliable. Nothing should break down anymore, should it? But they do, which is a bit pants, to say the least. But you know, there's something about this bike that the way that it's put together, or the minimalist nature of it, that gives it a smoother feel than to the classic 650 I took out. It has yeah, maybe it's those front forks, maybe it's those upside down forks, I don't know, it's making the difference. Hard to say, isn't it? It's why I end up going so far away from where I should be. But I don't care. So you go, I don't care, it's not my bike. Well, I've filled it up with fuel for them. I always do that. I always think you should be very polite and kind. Well, they're lovely people anyway. And I was showing the guys in the shop this morning a preview of the episode of the classic 650, and one of the chaps who speaks English watched it and laughed his head off when he saw one particular point, and Sandy, who doesn't speak much English at all, didn't get it. She was looking at a big bemused look on her face. Never mind. Right, I should really be talking more about this. You know, it's so neutral in its thing. It feels like it's got a heated grip. My god, that grip's getting hot. It's got such a neutral feel to it, this bike, that I think anybody could get on it and ride it. And I think it actually would be quite good for lady riders. I think lady riders would enjoy this bike. Oh, it feels like that. Do you know what? It has got heated grips on it, this thing, isn't it? Or has it? If it has, oh yeah, it has. I'm sitting there going, that grip's getting hot, and it's got heated grips on it. Blimey, that is getting hot. I'll tell you what though, only this one was getting hot, not the other one. I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, they must be aftermarkets, because I don't think Enfield fit heated grips to any of their bike. So I think it would actually appeal to a lot of different groups, this bike. People that want to come off a big Triumph. You know, this is much easier to handle than a Bonneville, without any shadow of a doubt. I don't know about the latest water cords or something like a Speed Twin, but certainly my Bonneville, you know, that was a lump, to say the least, really. And it was a beautiful bike to look at, but not for the, you know, less strengthily challenged, is that a word? So, but this I think would cover all those bases. I think it would work well for different groups, for new people coming into biking. I'm going to go down now, I have no idea where it's going to take me. New people coming into biking. I think female riders would enjoy this bike. I think it will give you a nice feel. You'll feel like you're on a big bike. It is a biggish bike, without too much of that aggravation of you know, having such a dead weight between you. I nearly said between your legs then, but that wouldn't work, would it really? It would be unpleasant. So yeah, from that perspective I think it's good. I think the minimalist nature of this bike will make it easy to clean and keep sparkling. I love the now I've had a proper look, I like this frame. I like the finish they put it on it. I think it's actually really good. I think they should use it on more of their bikes, really. When you got gloss black, you know, whether it's powder coat or whatever, I always tend to think that that's going to eventually chip and you're going to get some moisture behind it. It's going to start looking horrible. But I think this would be quite a more robust finish on a bike. And I like all the black. I like what they've done with the engine casing, where they've put the Royal Enfield, which seems to be actually cast into that. It doesn't look like a sticker on there, which is really nice. I'm just going to pop along here. No idea where we are still. I like the black switch gear. I like all that. The mirror's quite cool. Put some bar ends on here, it'd be really nice. Oh look, my heated grip's back on again. that's quite inadvertent. I think it's quite easy to switch that on, you know. I think that's what it is. It's easy to switch that grip on without realising it. And this is sort of what this bike's for, isn't it? Really, just cruising around. It's not a high twisty sort of bike. It's a bike for just pootling around and enjoying it. Right, here we are. If we can find a twisty road somewhere. No, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go up into that town. I'm going to plod along at a nice, slow, steady pace. Let's do that. Oh, the good old tobacco. Can't beat it, can you? They're like the little central hub of French towns, the tobacco. And so everybody goes. And then come lunchtime, when all the shops shut at 12 o'clock, these places are absolutely rammed. Oh, speed hump. Do you know that? I'll tell you in particular, that front suspension is actually very nice. It's smooth. I'm not being buffeted about really. This road's a bit of a lumpy mess. Let's do another one of these speed humps. There we go. What? Yeah, it's just on the right side of firm, that, you know. I think if someone put the classic 650 in front of me and this, I'd have this all day long. But I think I would actually customise it to my own spec, looks wise. I think this would be nice with a custom paint job, a bit like the you know, my other favourite one. I want to say it's Knox or something. I can't remember who made that. Inox or something like that. I'm sure it'll be revealed in the picture. We got a little bit of a country road here. What have we got going on here? Obviously the 6-speed gearbox is really nice. I've never had any problem with any of my gearboxes on my bikes. My Enfields, they've always been really good. Yeah, I tell you, if you're looking for a 650, something a nice compact, good looking, nice riding, easy to ride, sort of cruiser, bobber, everyday bike. This is nice, you know. This is really nice. I'm impressed. Let's sweep it into this little curve, shall we? Yeah, it's nice, stable. It's nice and stable. I like it. I think the other thing is you've got the tyres on here. They may be very similar to the Interceptor, that's Seats, and I went with the BT 46s, so they Bridgestones, I think, which absolutely transformed the handling of that bike. Absolutely transformed it, and I think it's something I would do probably with this. Those Seats lasted probably 2,000 miles before they needed, or they, you know, sort of lost their integrity as far as I was concerned. I got a couple of punctures quickly in those, but they were tram lining and doing stuff like that. Yeah. Nice bike. It's a nice bike to be out on these roads. Really lovely. Sometimes life is good, isn't it? And this is going to be the last bike that I get to ride here, because I travel home tomorrow. I've got 340 miles to do tomorrow morning, so me and the Honda have got to be on it. Poor old Honda's got to do it one more time. It's going to be a bit of a thrash through. Right, let's go and have the last thoughts on this bike. Back at the train. The train. Just quickly so you realise where we are. Standing by this giant train here. This isn't the 815 from Paddington. We're in Perigeaux, which is where Abosolut Moto put the picture up. Very special friends here that lend me these bikes, which is great. this was a restoration project here, and anybody can come up. It's on by one of the roundabouts, and it's a great thing. It's just great. I just thought it'd be a nice comparison between this and the Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield is synonymous, isn't it, with engineering, and I know they were firearms manufacturers and all the rest of it. So, what are my main conclusions on this bike from an aesthetics point of view? Well, I think it does look good. I think it's well placed in the market now. As I think that the cruiser bobber style bike is going to sort of be the next thing, and you can see companies, they're always looking for, how can we get people to buy a new bike? What trend can we start new for people? And I think maybe it will be this. There was a fantastic bike that I looked at a show, and I did not have they hadn't registered it, and I haven't had time to actually go and ride it. It was a company Macbor, and people that have seen the video on the Qjin motors, the two adventure bikes I did, it's made by them, but it's made by for a Catalan company called Macbor, and it's very similar to this. It's like a miniature Iron Horse 883. I'll put a picture on there. Now that was the twin cylinder 411cc, 411cc or 410, 411. Phenomenal looking bike, really cool. And I think that may be where the market might go next. I don't see the sports bikes doing anything. I think the adventure bike thing has blown itself out, although there's still room to maneuver in the small adventure bikes. But in the cruiser market like this, in a bike which is probably not that bad, when you're getting on in years, a bit like me, you want something that you can roll around and move in your garage and all that sort of stuff easier. And this sort of fits that bill. It's right in the sweet spot where it's not too low as a real, dragging your backside on the floor sort of cruiser. It's a bit taller, so it gives you that sort of that nice feel that that you're not really going down one massive genre jump. Only it's an interesting word, genre jump. It's just a bit more in the middle and not too much of a risk, and I like that. I really like that. I think this is a really nice bike. It's a lovely ride. The one thing I would like to do though, handlebars wise, as I said, is I'd love to try this with some, like a bit on the big old American Harleys, the old sort of military Harleys that used to have the old, I suppose we're going pre-war, aren't we? Like that. That'd be I'd love to try it. I'd love one of those Harleys, but I think this might be one of the bikes you could do it on. I think this bike is one of those ones which is infinitely customizable because it's relatively cheap. So it lends itself to being, putting those additions on that really makes it personal to you, which is something I like. Right, there we are. That's my view on the shotgun. I think the shotgun is actually a really, really cool bike. One that gets overlooked. And interestingly, just on a slight note, is that this bike really holds its price. Whether that's because it's not been as popular as you think it's been, so there's not so many in the second-hand market, and they're obviously still relatively new, but it does hold its price, as do most Enfields. The only Enfield that doesn't seem to hold its price is the Meteor 350 Meteor. It's not such a popular bike on the. It drops its price second-hand quickly, I think, which is a shame. Where this one doesn't, and I think that's going to be quite true of most of the 650s. If you look at the Interceptor holds its price really well. When you're starting from a low price point, it's not so far to fall. You pay £20,000 for a bike, and 2 years later it's worth 10 grand. People found that with their BMW R18s and stuff, didn't they? So, yeah, lovely bike. Right, hope you enjoyed that episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Right, let's get out of here before it gets so hot the camera explodes.